And welcome. The first innings between
Hello.
India and Bangladesh has now come to an end. India made a rollicking start, just the kind of start you would have wanted. But then came the Bangladesh comeback into the match, and as a result, we thought that things might just wrap up inside 25 odd overs. That's how bad Bangladesh were positioned at one point. But then came that comeback I was talking about, and we had 200 odd more runs scored since that point.
193 more runs.
193 runs more that were added thanks to that beautiful partnership between Tauhid Hridoy and Zakir Ali. Both had a reprieve each. In fact, there was stumping opportunity also missed. Yes. We'll talk about all of that. Nikhil joining us live from Dubai, also in the company of the two Siddharths and Shashwat.
Yep. So, what a story of Tauhid Hridoy. I mean, you have to give it to him for the way how he has really gutsed. I mean, can you believe it? As a young aspiring cricketer, what would you want? An academy, coaches to guide you, and ensuring you come to the national setup, right? But Tauhid Hridoy, he hails from Bogra. It's a very interesting story. He wanted to play cricket. So he approached a coach. And they decided, okay, let's take you to an academy in Dhaka. So he had to move from Bogra to Dhaka. But there he was scammed. He was left in that city with no money whatsoever. And he was like struggling what to do. He just played part-time for one club or something. Then it was Khalid Mahmood who spotted him. And then from that point in time, you have seen Tauhid Hridoy at 92 on debut against Ireland, the highest by a Bangladesh player in ODIs, and 300 plus runs in 2023, the most by any individual. I mean, more than that. And now 100, made in 100. What a time to make it. When you are 35 for 5, and we all knew that Zakir Ali would be a really, really vital component in this because he was the player heading into form. He was one of the best players in 2024 and 2025 when you look at it for Bangladesh, despite their poor run. So, 153 runs, the highest partnership in the Champions Trophy for the sixth wicket ever. And then it was luckily countered by Mohammad Shami, 5 wickets, Harshit Rana, 3 wickets. Shami ICC events, we say the love affair is really, really everlasting at this stage. But there are huge questions for India. There are huge questions. I mean, were you complacent when you are 35 for 5? And then you thought, okay, I'll take it very lightly. The fielding was shambolic. Absolutely shambolic to say the least. You have to start with the captain. What was he doing? I know many people say that Virat and Rohit take difficult catches, but they drop simple ones.
Hence, weren't we just discussing that?
Yes.
One thing that now Sir has joined us, I just really wanted to say this. Sir, before you went, I had asked you that I hope that if Harshit Rana ends up playing before Arshdeep Singh, I hope somebody asked this question in the press conference. So you told me that you text me the question, I'll ask. So I've just texted you the question. And the question I want you to ask is, what was the reason that got Harshit Rana ahead of Arshdeep Singh suddenly? Because if Harshit Rana was the first choice pacer, then why wasn't he picked in the first place in the side? And why was Arshdeep picked? And then suddenly when he was drafted in later, how does he start ahead of Arshdeep? I've texted you this also, so please, if you are able to ask this in the press conference.
He was hitting the sixes much farther.
If that is then he can tell us in the press conference, Rohit Sharma, or whoever comes.
I don't think he'll come.
Okay, Shashwat, I have taken note of your question. I don't know, I can't see my text because that's the phone that I'm using to come live. But your question is rather straight and simple, so I don't think I'll need to read it. I'll have it in my head. If I get an opportunity to ask that question, I will 100% do that. Are you happy?
Yes, sir.
No, you could also perhaps add, I loved that theory from Shashwat yesterday because Harshit Rana was sending the ball a far way with the bat as compared to some of the other batters when those 200 odd sixes were hit. So you could, in light vein, just ask if that was perhaps the thinking. if those 20 meters extra that the ball went from his bat was actually the reason.
But Harshit, if I was to ask that question, that probably would be the last question I'll get to ask.
You could say the safest line ever that we all use. Sources in the know of things.
No, they'd be like sources in the know thing. What kind of sources are these? That you think we picked up a player in the 11 on basis of he was hitting the ball harder. See, I mean there is merit in that. They could have gone with a Harshit because of his hitting abilities. You can, but as I said, Harshit was also hitting, and I agree that between the two of them, there is no doubt that Harshit is a better batter. I mean, let's be honest about it. But that can't be the reason that you're picking. Him ahead. So if the Indian team was to say that, there'll be question asked. But I wouldn't be surprised if they say it because you saw in the Test matches as well that they were keen on picking a bowler based on their batting ability. If that's the thing, they very well could, and they'll be more justified to do it in white ball cricket and in ODI cricket compared to Test cricket. So they possibly could do it, but that would surprise me. I mean, it would make no reason why they picked him. But that's a question I'll get to ask. So I'll wait for that.
Yeah, I mean, see, I hope the right person comes for the press conference, where we can ask the right questions, because India might escape here.
Today, I'm telling you, it'll be Mohammad Shami.
Okay.
It could be one of the assistant coaches.
Ryan
also.
Tennis Carter could be there.
I have a feeling it'll be Shami.
Or Abhishek Nair.
Sure,
No,
because see,
they usually set the best performer of the day, and so I think Shashwat might have to wait for me to ask that question because if let's say Shami is to come, he's picked up a fifer, and we'll talk about that. If Shami was to come, then I don't think he's the right person to ask that question because he would not know why someone else has been picked. So unless it is the coach or the captain, I think this is a question best addressed to the coach or the captain. So, I mean, we'll have the next game, India-Pakistan. I guess that's a game that one of them might be coming in definitely between the coach and the captain to address the press. So, I'll keep the question till that date. But don't worry, I will definitely ask you a question as and when I get
Thank
that
you,
chance.
sir.
Yeah, Nikhil. Back here, I'm sure I think we'll discuss more on Shami, Kuldeep Yadav. But is there a worry with Hardik Pandya? Because I saw one of the visuals, I think during the 30th or the 35th over, that he was being treated by a physio and it looked like more of a hamstring worry. So any update or anything that you have on him, because he bowled just 4 overs?
No. We actually were trying to get that information from the Indian team management, but then we were told at that time that they'll still be assessing him. So probably once I go back, that's the time that we're going to get a better idea as to, how fit or if there is something to worry about. But overall, I don't think they used him that much. They were more, keen on going with their spinners. And I think there was a phase where Kuldeep and Jadeja bowled a lot. So I don't know whether they were keen on going on Hardik. At that point when that partnership was building, I was thinking that they'd want to go to a Hardik Pandya. But they did. And then later, of course, as you mentioned, there was that moment that the physio was treating him. I don't know if it's a serious issue or not, but we'll definitely get to know. I mean, we would have got to know otherwise also when his batting came up. But then today, I don't think it's a total, and I'm guessing that's the most pertinent point that everyone wants to hear. I know Bangladesh had a great rear guard action after being 35 for 5, but I don't think they've got enough on the board to trouble this Indian team. At one point, it did look like that, and I think Bangladesh would be kicking themselves. With about 6-7 overs to go, it did seem like at that situation when Rishad was there as well as Hridoy, it did seem like that 260 was seeming like a more realistic sort of a total 260, 270. And if they had gotten that, you remember we were talking to Harbhajan Singh before the match started, and he said that anywhere over 260, then you get into dangerous territory here at the Dubai Stadium. So that would have been a more competitive total. And Bangladesh, while they'd be happy on this front that from 35 for 5, they've gone on to get a 200 plus sort of a total. But you could very well have gone with at least a par total. I wouldn't say above par, because an above par would have been close to 280, 290. But at least a par total in the 260 range. And who knows, the game would have been on. We haven't seen too many ODI games here. I know there was ILT20. They could have been in the game. But right now, if you look at the total, I don't know what everyone else thinks, but I think right now, looking at the total, and somebody asked me while I was walking here, do you think it's enough for India? And I said no. I think India would make.
I mean, you want to come to Siddharth. Siddharth, you started by saying that plenty of questions for India. Let's start with one of those questions, maybe.
See, firstly, Gulati has given the toughest task to Nikhil in Dubai, trying to uncover an injury status of an India player it involves a lot of espionage. It involves a lot of state secrets being sold. Because this Indian cricket team guards its players' injury status as if it's a state secret. Look at Bumrah. Look at Hardik Pandya even during the World Cup. In the World Cup, he's going to resume bowling at the NCA by the next game. He'll be fit for the England game. He'll be fit for the Sri Lanka game. He never became fit for at least 2024. That's the thing with this Indian cricket team. So, will they be very obliging in giving the injury status on Hardik Pandya, or they'll brush it under? I think it's the latter. They'll brush it under. Then nothing's happened here. You guys are making a mountain out of a molehill, or Raika.
Simpler questions, Gulati, going forward.
What's the next question?
The next question I have is, okay, this wasn't a question, it was a statement at you. By the way, looking at this Indian cricket team, the bowling lineup, okay, you packed your team with 3 spinners, 3 fast bowlers, okay, 2 fast bowlers, okay. Did they achieve the objective today of trying to absolutely run through an opponent? They didn't.
The initiative was there.
But after that, you took the foot off the pedal.
No, but again, I don't.
So you're saying India guilty of taking the foot off the pedal?
Guilty. Why are they guilty?
Any team that will have the opposition for a score less than 50 for 5, of course you would have wanted the innings to have wrapped up around 120, 130 at best.
Because India haven't learned from history, na. Same
But
situation.
today, what is it that let them down? The bowling or the fielding?
No.
Because
Bowling and fielding, both. They were guilty of the lines that they bowled. They were too straight. They didn't create
But
enough
bowlers
easy
were
singles.
ineffective in the middle overs. I think we have been talking about this since the very beginning, that middle overs is the time where the game actually changes, switches. We saw the Bangladesh batters scoring those singles and doubles, constantly getting 4, 5, 6 runs each over in those 30 overs in between. And I think over there, the bowlers were really not efficient in picking those wickets in the middle over. And one thing I wanted to ask all of you, and also sir, that Kuldeep Yadav utilizing him as a 6th bowler, don't you think that sort of dents his confidence? Because he's already you just have 3 wicket taking options. If we count Jadeja also, who the team management actually counts as a all-rounder, I'm counting even Jadeja. So using your one of the wicket takers as your 6th bowler, I feel that dents the confidence, and that's also a reason why he wasn't that effective. He wasn't able to pick wickets in the middle overs. Middle overs, the Indian team wasn't able to pick wickets at all. Obviously, half of it goes to the catching, also the catches that were dropped, one stumping by KL Rahul, a catch by Hardik Pandya. But apart from that also, today it was Bangladesh who did not utilize the middle overs fully. Maybe some other team can utilize the middle overs even more effectively and score the 40-50 runs that we are talking about right now. If it's a Pakistan or a New Zealand, they might get that total, and then you might be under pressure when you come out to bat.
Actually, see, Bangladesh tackled Kuldeep well. I think for the first time, it wasn't lack of confidence. I agree. Where you are coming from, even that theory is also quite valid, that he's got the Varun Chakravarti sword hanging around him. If he doesn't perform, Varun Chakravarti can easily come in. But today, after the initial couple of overs, the batters were getting beaten. Especially, I think, Tauhid struggled against Kuldeep in the beginning. But then after that, he found the lens. Nikhil himself had done that interview about that Afghan Kuldeep proxy. I think they trained well, and actually they did well.
Now you're calling him proxy.
Of course, I have to take your word for it. So, Nikhil, did those experiments actually come out well in that batting display today, or do you think Kuldeep really lacked confidence? I don't think it was the second one, but what's your take on it?
No, I mean, it's interesting. Actually, I had that in mind. When I did see, Zen, whose interview I did on Sports Today, exactly bowling like Kuldeep Yadav in the net. That's why I thought that I must interview him. And later what I learned was that it wasn't just a coincidence. You know what happens sometimes is that you ask for a set of bowlers, they turn up, and then one of them is a left-arm fast bowler, somebody is a fast bowler, off spinner. There's a variety of bowlers. But in this case, I was told that he was specifically sought after. He was specifically told that we need a left-arm Chinaman. And they clearly wanted to, you practice against someone like a Kuldeep Yadav, and that's, played dividends. I think they played him rather well. Because, Kuldeep in that mid-period is that bowler who can pick up wickets. And just on that front about him, and I'll get a little more deeper into it, and was he, short on confidence and so on and so forth. If you look at the bowling, they actually treated Hardik Pandya as the sixth bowler today. Even before
Yeah.
he was treated for injury, if you take a look at how they were utilizing him at one stage, everyone had bowled, if I'm not mistaken, about 6-7 overs. Hardik
Yeah.
had just bowled a
Yes.
couple. And I felt that he was being the one being treated as a sixth bowling option. And that surprised me, considering, it's a pitch where we've seen fast bowlers pick up a lot of wicket. Today, you saw Shami pick up 5 for. So I was a bit surprised. So the sixth bowler, I don't think that will be on Kuldeep's mind, because from what we were seeing as the game, Hardik looked like the sixth bowler. So you have confidence that, okay, you're one of the bowlers. Now, I'll get to the match situation. I think that's very important. 35 for 5. Bangladesh had only one way of playing, and that was to, not take a lot of risk. They were scoring 4 and over for majority of the match from there on. And I don't think India were very worried at that stage. So Bangladesh were definitely not going to give a wicket. If you take a look at Hridoy's 100, as good as it is, and he got a standing ovation, even chairs in the press box. But, anything sub 100 strike rate, you take it. So I think the Indian team wasn't overtly worried about him getting. I agree that partnership between Jakir and Hridoy was very, very good. But also it played out to the situation. So what would the middle overs require? Middle overs would require that the batter takes risk once in a while trying to hit the spinner, and that's where he ends up losing a wicket. And that is something that wasn't happening because of the match situation. Of course, the other thing that you mentioned, that maybe those missed chances, if Rohit had caught that ball, maybe situation would have been different. If KL had got that stumping, maybe situation could have been different. That's another matter. But even in the overall scheme of things, I knew that the match situation was such to get a wicket would have been very tough. If you take a look at how the wickets came, it came at a stage when Bangladesh was trying to accelerate towards the latter half of the innings. When you knew that, okay, now you can get to a good total, you're trying to accelerate. That's where they ended up losing wickets, because they were taking risks. So it all was down to how much risk taking Bangladesh does, and that was in a way adding up to the wickets that you got. But Kuldeep's case is different. I think Kuldeep, you've got in the team that even if you reach a scenario where the batter is not taking too many risks, he would still be the bowler that will pick up a lot of wicket. And I think that's where the practice against Kuldeep that the Bangladesh team did came in handy, because they could read him. Otherwise, even if you're getting 4 and over, Kuldeep has the ability to really fox you, or outfox you rather, with his variation. I think they came better prepared for that.
The one thing though I felt about Kuldeep, I think he bowled the leg spinner far more, or the conventional spin much more than using his wrong one.
Yeah.
The wrong one that he used a couple of times, the batter was beater, and as we saw towards the end as well, there was that leg before appeal as well, which didn't go India's way. So maybe a little more variation from him, but today I think they came very well prepared, because they were able to lead the conventional spin very, very well, playing a lot of those spin deliveries on the back foot. So that was good to see from Bangladesh in terms of preparation.
I personally have a very different point of view towards this. I think, they would have
you never
definitely
have a different point of
I'm
view.
saying they definitely would have had, they would have been well prepared for a Kuldeep Yadav, but I think that's where all of this stems down.
But Sashwat, look at his economy. Na? He
Yeah,
finishes with 4.3, so he gave up
I'm
43
not saying there's a
runs.
problem
So
with that. What I'm trying to say that on a given day, if a certain Kuldeep, see, you just have 3 wicket-taking bowlers. In the middle overs, on a certain day, Kuldeep Yadav can definitely have an off day, or a day where the opposition.
this is an off day.
No, not as an off. No, but he wasn't able to pick wickets. You would have.
It's not like he leaked runs.
No, but it's
He
no.
held up the
No,
other
but
end.
just by containing runs, you cannot win an ODI game. no?
Sometimes
Containing is also
See,
a
but
good job.
Sashwat,
that
No,
is
I'm not
required
saying
to
containing
leadership.
is not a
If
good
there
job.
is
I'm
one-
saying,
if
but
there is
I
one bowler
was
who
completing my
who-
no. But
who's
what I'm
able
trying to
hold
say
up
is.
one end, then the risk taking increases for the other bowler.
But then on the other
and
end,
then
you
the
should
other
have
one
some.
gets
No, then
wickets.
somebody on the other end should get the wickets. That's why I'm saying you should
Exactly.
have somebody to pick wickets on the other end as well. Then
in that entire partnership, 2-3 chances were missed. The rest of them tackled it very brilliantly. I mean,
Yeah.
for once we'll have to give credit to the Bangladesh batters also.
You can't, just put everything down on the bowler. I think the fielders let the bowlers down as well. If
Exactly.
you're going to be dropping sitters like that, if there's a stumping that's going to be missed, you cannot, opportunities aren't just created for fun. You need time to create opportunity. It's not like every over there'll be an opportunity. If there's an opportunity that comes once in 5 overs, you grab it. You don't get it, then you get the next one after another 5. Today you drop 3 of those opportunities. Anyway, I see you're in the company of an Indian fan, Nikhil. What does the
Yes.
fan have to
Yes.
say?
Yes, this is Anupam. He's watching a match, and firstly, I love that attire. Just check out, the tee that he's wearing. Lovely. He's giving Siddharth Vishwanathan a run for his money.
Lovely to meet him.
And dhoti. I love your his kurta says Radhe Radhe. Very nicely done. अच्छा क्या लग रहा है?
सर सर जब इंडिया टुडे के को यूए की भूमि से बस पे गए और सर जी डायरेक्टली कुंभ से आ रहा हूँ।
ओह होय होय
कुंभ में माहौल है और सर से 2 साल पहले इसी स्टेडियम में बना था। सर ने खड़ी की तारीफ करी थी, इस बार कह लीजिए सर कुंभ थीम पे मैं आया सर।
अच्छा
और जीत हमारी होगी, बस मैं चाहता हूँ भारतीय टीम 30 ओवर के अंदर मैच पेल फाड़ के खत्म करे।
30 में
30 में सर।
अच्छा मतलब
क्योंकि जो असल में ऐसा करता हूँ जब 35 पे 5 गिर गए थे लग रहा था कि मैच थर्ड लाइन में देख नहीं पाए।
हाँ
तो एटलीस्ट कुछ तो रन बन रहा है।
अच्छा एक joke there's a joke that's doing the rounds at the moment amongst fans like Anupam. People were saying no 35 for 5 good. India didn't pick up any wickets in the middle over because you guys were debating. There's a simpler logic, just as you had a very simple logic about kaun chhakke zyada marta hai, Harshit and Harshdeep, they picked a simple logic. Fans are saying listen, India needed some batting practice. They said agar 80 पे all out हो जाते, how would Indian batters practice? Ahead in the tournament, they'll have to play big matches. So they said, India said, no problem, wickets are not coming, no issue. We need them to put a decent total, not a match-winning total, decent total, so that our batters get some time in the middle. That's
So
also the
this-
joke. That's
So this gives room at least for a couple of batters to get to 50 odd runs.
Yeah.
मिल जाए
हाँ,
बाकी अच्छा।
बाकी सब अच्छा है. मतलब ऐसे कहीं आपको ऐसे फील तो नहीं आ रही कहीं गड़बड़ ना हो जाए कुछ? छोटा टोटल है बट कहीं गड़बड़ ऐसा थोड़ा भी नहीं है.
नहीं ऐसा नहीं सर, हाँ थोड़ा फास्ट गेंद की बॉल होती है
हाँ.
लेकिन ठीक है। लेकिन जैसे आपसे यहाँ की बैटिंग है, ऐसा मेरे को लग रहा है इंडिया अंडर 30 कंप्लीट करते हैं।
अंडर 30 चले.
पहले 5 में से कोई भी चलेगा सर।
ओके अनुभव
हर हर
जी,
महादेव सर।
हर हर महादेव, बहुत जबरदस्त लग रहे हैं आप. बिल्कुल ये कुंभ से आए हैं. हाँ, so he is fully confident. He thinks 30 overs at best. That's what he's giving the time. No more than 30 overs. He's saying, okay, the ball will move around. By the way, I must tell you something. Huh? Breaking news from Dubai. Breaking news is that just now, there have been 2 raindrops that have fallen on me. 2 raindrops have fallen. But none after that. I'm seeing the skies right now. Let me show our viewers as well. Can you see clouds there? There are some clouds this side. But just on top of me, it's pretty clear. But there are some clouds that are coming from this side. But I don't think they'll be dangerous. Some dark clouds, actually that side, slightly more darker clouds, that side. But nothing dangerous. So don't worry. I don't think it will be enough of a rain to disrupt the match. Overhead conditions may change. And as you heard from Anupam saying, thoda spin ball ko hilata bhi hai. But again, I'm not as optimistic as him. 30 overs.
Yeah.
40 overs is also good.
Yeah, but I think coming back to that point we were discussing where maybe India lost the plot after restricting Bangladesh to 35 for 5 at one stage. I think maybe it's not just about the bowlers like bowling well in the middle overs. As Siddharth also pointed that sometimes it's also right to credit the opposition batters too, because probably they batted very well. I think where India missed the trick, and that's I think the perennial problem with this Indian cricket team across formats, that you always find it difficult to get rid of the low order or the middle order batters of the opposition when you have taken those 4 or 5 wickets very early. I think this is where I think India could have had extended spells from both Shami and Harshit Rana here. Maybe a couple of Yorkers or something like that, and if Bangladesh would have been 50 odd for 6 or 7, things would have been completely different. But that's when you probably not really would not have wanted to go to the spin.
But just crediting the opposite batters, I think then whenever the Indian team loses or whenever somebody scores 100, then more often than not, it's the other team who's doing well.
I mean, look at it. I mean,
then that's the way to look at it. I don't look at it like this.
Yeah, hello.
But
all
then,
you people
then
have
you're
to
not
understand.
losing because of your mistake. You're losing because the other team is playing well.
No.
Then
Again,
that's the approach.
That is a very wrong assessment.
No. That's the approach. That's the exact approach you're using.
50% of our own mistakes and 50% because of opponent's brilliance. Yeah.
Exactly.
Travis Head, 50% it was his brilliance and 50% of it was your own cowardice in November 19.
Yeah, so it's our job to call out what's wrong, what wrong we are doing. That's what I'm saying.
What we are doing.
No. I'm not going to credit it. Yeah, not just the missed opportunities, and I still feel the team composition.
Quality players at times don't give you opportunities every now and then. You miss one opportunity, you miss the match. That's how
Tauhid
it is.
Hridoy and Zakir Ali are not Chris Martin of New Zealand. Let's make one thing clear here. They are much better. They are quality batters at this point in time. And I have mentioned Tauhid Hridoy in 2023 was one of the best batters.
Yes, agreed.
Zakir Ali in 2024 was in good form heading into it. Yeah. And there is a lesson in history. 69 for 5 in Mirpur. It took Mehdi Hassan's 100 to ensure you got to 271. You lost that game by 5 runs. India can't blast the tail out. And with no Bumrah, it is going to be an even further problem that this Indian bowling unit will
Exactly.
have. Except for a Shami. Shami can run through a
Exactly, I was coming to Shami only. How big a
But
shot in
actually,
the
they
arm?
blasted the tail out today, huh? They blasted the tail out today. It is actually the lower middle order and the middle order which offered any resistance. If you take a look at the tail as such, they wrapped him up. I mean, as I said, Bangladesh from that stage could have gone to 60, 70, but the tail also could not do anything.
They lost 3
It's that
wickets for
lower
34
middle
runs.
Yeah, so I mean, see again, matches will have ebbs and flow. My only point is, what do you expect? Like, do you expect, a team if they have that sort of that they need, if they've got them 35 for 5, what do you want? Anything over 100, you're going to catch hold of the team. It will never happen like that, right? Every ODI match that you pick out, whether India also batting, there'll be ebbs and flows. You will change. Now, if Bangladesh were to know that, so I mean, just trying to think of it from Bangladesh's point of view. When they started batting, 280 must be on their minds, right? They knew that is the total only that can challenge the Indian team. So you start with 280. When you start losing the wicket as they did, you reconfigure and you put in a next total, which is the next best thing, which probably would have been at 200. Then at one stage it looked like 260, but they settled at 240. I'm saying at the start of the game, at the toss, if you ask the Indian team, you're going to be chasing, some 240, will you take it? I think Rohit Sharma would have taken it any day. So every moment there'll be ebbs and flows. Just because there's a good partnership that Bangladesh put does not mean that the Indian bowlers were not on the mark. I mean, we are losing track from the larger picture that halfway stage, India are in a far better situation than Bangladesh in. I mean, we can pick and say that, okay, this wasn't right, that wasn't the case. Again, as I said, there'll be no match. Everyone will pick wickets. Your highest wicket taker, I think, in the England series was Jadeja. Today, he didn't pick up any wickets. So now, with that one game, he goes back. So there will be a rotation. There'll be days that somebody else does well. Shami wasn't looking outstanding at that time. He picked up 5 for today. And that's the whole point of playing 11 players. That on a given day, somebody will be good, and on another day, somebody will not be. But if after every game, I, make an assessment that, okay, this is India's weak link, then I think that will be a problem. If we have to concede that India has a problem in middle overs, then let me have a big sample size. Show me a good amount of matches where India are not picking up wickets in the middle over. I think England series, they continue to pick wickets in the middle over. So after one game, and that is also a possibility that this game India wins, does picking wickets in the middle over become a problem because it's happened in one over? If we were to analyze cricket like that, I think we're going down the wrong road. That's how I see it. I mean, there has to be more nuance in that because it's very easy. Like one day I look at the scorecard, then I don't need to see a match. I don't need to follow a team. I can look at the scorecard and then talk. So at least that's how I see it.
See, I think that's probably one way of looking at things, that India are probably in a better position at the halfway stage. But then the way I am also looking at it, that India were in control when Bangladesh were 35 for 5. And after that, their remaining batters scored about 200 odd runs. So if there's any team that would be probably a slightly more high on confidence, I think it's probably going to be Bangladesh, because they have gathered that confidence of scoring 200 odd more runs.
Restricted them for
Actually, 30, 40 runs.
I get that.
They
I
would
get
have
that.
wanted anything below 250. If you would have asked India, had Bangladesh played to potential, this is the kind of total you expect Bangladesh to put, no matter where you're playing them, be it in the subcontinent, be it overseas, wherever you're playing, you expect them to be posting somewhere around 230, 240 on most days, if not more.
I'll give you an example. Now go see, that's what I'm saying. Any game cannot just go one way, no? Any game has to have ebbs and flow.
Correct.
How can one team be dominant for 100 overs? But that's what you're expecting. That 35 for 5, now I don't want anything more than 100. 120 you cannot. How can you allow? It won't happen. I'll give you an example of, let's take a look at the Pakistan game. Pakistan is coming under criticism in the New Zealand game. Why? Because they fell so short of the target. Now, just change the whole game. Pakistan are batting first. They're in a situation that they were, and they get to 260 now, and we are talking mid-innings. Maybe you say, oh, from where the situation was, how you were, you sorted, you've done well. Then I could probably criticize the New Zealand bowlers from where they're doing. But we had the benefit of hindsight there, right? They were chasing a total. You know what is the total that you have to get to, and that's why you bat it. And I'm saying you have to look at Bangladesh's inning in that scenario. In a scenario like that, they may be batting first, but they reconfigured. and they took the second best or the third best option as to just make some runs on the board rather than pack up. So, I mean, I would have had an issue with the India's bowling had Bangladesh reached 260. And then I would have said that, listen, from 35 for 5, you'll allowed them and they've gotten to par. Or if they got 280, 290, I'd be livid with the Indian bowling. But I think how much more can you do when the other team has gone into a shell for a period of 30 overs? What else can you do? There is no way that, I mean, there is no, I know on a given day, Kuldeep could have picked up wickets or anybody else. They tried different bowlers. It's not easy, especially when batters go into a shell. The issue is, and that's what I'm saying, maybe in hindsight, if India were to get troubled in this match, then maybe a different perspective. But let's say India chase it down rather easily, then how do I put the blame on the bowlers? How do I say that you didn't do your job if they got them at a below par total? I feel, and that's what I'm saying, we can get the pitch wrong, but our assessment was 260 would be par, 280 would be above par. Are they at par? Are they at above par? They're not. So there will be stages of the game. Then there'll be a different game where the start could be good, and then you get wickets in the middle over and later half, and Bangladesh end up with 230. Does that mean that the opening bowling is a bit of a problem? No, in England we saw that, right? The opening bowlers are getting hammered, and then you would, in the middle overs, fix things. So my point is for us to make an opinion that middle over is a problem or bowling is a problem or any, needs to have some merit in it. It needs to have enough of a sample size for me to say it. After one match, which also, as I said, possibly one, how do I say middle overs is a problem? On basis what? One game?
Yeah.
No, so the only thing over here is that I do understand that on a given day, somebody can have an off day and somebody can have a good day at the same time. But the only thing is that when a certain...
And Shashwat, I'm not saying luck of the draw, good day, bad day.
Yeah. They have the quality, yes. But the only thing is that...
Not quality. No, not quality. Not quality. I'm saying match situation. If I am a Hridoy and I'm batting at that situation, I can only bat that one way. My job is to bat just like that. Babar Azam, if he was batting today instead of that, Babar Azam is getting abused because he's chasing 320 and then batting like that, right? Babar Azam batted the same way in this match situation, 34 for 5. You would have been saluting him as we are saluting Hridoy. So it's just the context you have to look at. Once you shut shop, you put your shutters down. How do you then, I think the Indian team also would have been happy. You're getting 4 and over, you're going to get a below par total, fine. Yeah, the wicket comes, one googly, they failed to beat, great. But how else do you pick up a wicket when somebody's got the shutters down?
Yeah.
Okay.
Are you giving Bangladesh a chance here, Nikhil? You spoke about them getting an under par total match, second innings underway already.
No. I think it'll be a big upset if that was to happen. I think it'll be a massive upset. India have to perform grossly under par, to lose this from here. With the batting that they have, I think they should win this game. As I said, because this is such a total that even if they're in a bit of a trouble, you can change gears and bat at a comfortable pace and yet be in a situation to chase this total down. The only worry I have is if the pitch starts behaving very differently, and because most batters wanted to bat first and the pitch keeps getting slower and slower. But even on that front, Bangladesh has packed itself with fast bowlers. So I don't know, maybe multiple spinners could have been an issue. Overall, if you ask me, we often do ratios. I'm saying 80-20. So that's how lopsided I see it.
Yeah, they are 30-40 runs way under par. They should have gone to
Anyone
250.
giving Bangladesh a chance here in the studio?
No.
Yeah.
No.
It will be not an easy chase. Like it won't be a 30-over chase. It will
I would
not
say
be a
it's
one.
actually 65-35. 65 in favor of India.
I'm giving 85-15 to India.
Yeah, if I'm Rohit Sharma, I'll take 65.
Yeah. See, because unless the pitch again changes color and with the overhead condition when you look at it, Bangladesh have a Tanzim Hassan Saqib. They have Fizz is left, so that's why I think it'll be tough. It'll be tough for Bangladesh.
At one point, Mehdi also will come in.
Mehdi Hassan Miraz will come in, and you also got Rishad.
Under lights, how India play Mehdi, that's going to be a test.
But
I think it's basically down to the first 10 or 12 odd overs. If India don't lose a wicket, score about 50-60 odd, then
it's easy.
I think then it should be.
But it won't be an easy chase.
I think the fizz could also be crucial here because if it does slow down with his cutters, he can really deceive you. So you would need a bowler like that. Though I know he's not been in great form, not like the fizz that we were accustomed to in India. Yet, with this experience, with these kind of conditions, who knows if he could be crucial. So they've got the arsenal, but I think because the total is below par, India really don't need to, push the envelope. They can be in their comfort zone and chase it. That's why I'm saying 260, 70, you begin to panic at certain point.
Now what happens, Nikhil, most times when you're, joining us via Zoom and you're giving us live from outside the stadium, you usually get to know what's happening inside a good few seconds before we see it on the screen and you tell us live. Today it's not happening because none of us are surprised. There's a paucity of fans inside. So what we're going to do is we're going to let you go inside. Since you're not getting to know what's happening inside the stadium right now, why don't you go catch the action? We'll do the same over here and we'll see you after the match gets over.
Bye.
Yep. So good start for Fizz. I mean, he's beaten Rohit
multiple times.
So I think I'm giving India the edge. They are going to chase it down, but it won't be an easy chase. So
Let's see.
join us for the post-match then from me, Harshit. Sorry, we can't take comments. We'll have a detailed post-match. Long one. Okay, so we'll do that. So yeah. Ashish, does MS the greatest Indian cricket date?
It's
a discussion for a later date.
Debate. So what we'll do is we're saving some of those comments, especially those that have been sent repeatedly. We'll try taking those and we'll have plenty of time to ponder over each of those comments when we see you guys around 10, 10:30, 11, whatever time, or 9 o'clock, whatever. If there's a quick run chase over there, let's see the bats really swinging around as far as Rohit Sharma is concerned.
Yep.
Big post-match show coming up. So we'll all see you then from everyone here in the Sports Today studio.
See
you.
bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.